So here's Barack Obama, and here he is endorsing Joe Biden. Let's see.
These aren't normal times. As we all manage our way through a pandemic unlike anything we've seen in a century, Michelle and I hope that you and your families are safe and well. If you've lost somebody to this virus, or if someone in your life is sick, or if you're one of the millions suffering economic hardship, please know that you're in our prayers. Please know that you're not alone, because now's the time for all of us to help where we can and to be there for each other, as neighbors, as co-workers, and as fellow citizens. In fact, over the past weeks, we've seen plenty of
Because I don't know if you remember the last time we had a big crisis like this, I kicked 5.1 million families out on the street. Instead of helping them, I fucked them over as hard as you could fuck anyone over. He didn't say that part. He's acting like he actually helps people in a crisis. Barack Obama doesn't help people in crises. Barack Obama fucks people over who are in crisis.
The kind of courage, kindness, and selflessness that we're going to need to get through one of the most difficult times in our history. Michelle and I have been amazed at the incredible bravery of our medical professionals who are putting their lives on the line to save others, the public servants and health officials battling this disease, the workers taking risks every day to keep our economy running, and everyone who's making their own sacrifice at home with their families, all for the greater good. But if there's one thing we've learned as a country from moments of great crisis,
is that our leaders will use that moment to fuck you over even harder and enrich their donor class friends, turning us into a banana republic. If there's anything we've learned, that would be the thing we've learned. Right, Barack?
it's that the spirit of looking out for one another can't be restricted to our homes or our workplaces or our neighborhoods or our houses of worship. It also has to be reflected in our national government.
This guy is a fucking cocksucker. This motherfucking guy. This guy who used government to fuck people over harder than they've ever been fucked over before or since is now acting like he's Santa Claus. Now he's acting like he actually gives a shit about people. He's acting like when there was a crisis like this when he was president, he actually fucking helped people when he didn't. What a lying charlatan. This is why we have Trump. You want to know why you have Trump? Because of Barack Obama, his horrible leadership, his fucking over of people in crisis.
The kind of leadership that's guided by knowledge and experience.
No.
Honesty and humility.
Honesty.
Oh.
Empathy.
Empathy.
And grace. That kind of leadership doesn't just belong in our state capitals and mayor's office.
Grace.
Oh, doesn't?
It belongs in the White House.
Oh. Grace.
How about when you let it play out? Remember when they were cracking the heads of peaceful protesters? You let it play. I'm going to let them do it.
The thing we've learned as a country from moments of great crisis, it's that the spirit of looking out for one another can't be restricted to our homes or our workplaces or our neighborhoods or our houses of worship.
Or drones.
It also has to be reflected in our national government. The kind of leadership that's guided by knowledge and experience. Honesty and humility.
You mean like Joe Biden?
Empathy and grace. That kind of leadership doesn't just belong in our state capitals and mayor's offices. It belongs in the White House. And that's why I'm so proud to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States.
A guy who, when we had a crisis last time, helped me screw you over so hard. He was my conduit directly to Wall Street and the insurance industry. Remember, he helped pass a bankruptcy bill that made it harder for people in crisis. That's what we do. We're Democrats. We're wolves in sheep's clothing. We screw you over worse than Republicans.
And this is the guy who's endorsing somebody who has dementia.
Yeah, dementia. So now Barack Obama gets his chance to lie to you. Just like Bernie had his chance yesterday to lie to you that Joe Biden is a good guy and he should be president. Joe Biden is not a good guy and he's demented and he shouldn't be anywhere near. They should take his car keys away, let alone the fucking keys to the government. He's going to have his finger on the nuclear football? Really? And Barack Obama's going to lie to you? And Bernie Sanders is going to lie to you. That's leadership? That they're going to gaslight their own followers into thinking that Joe Biden isn't demented? That's a real revolution you got going there, Bernie. Here we go.
Joe to be my vice president was one of the best decisions I ever made.
Oh, my
And
God.
he became a close friend. And I believe Joe has all the qualities we need in a president right now. He's
Demented, has a horrible track record, is a warmonger, is in the pocket of big business, Wall Street, health insurance, big pharma. It's everything we need right now. Oh, and fossil fuels, and has vowed to veto the solution to the problem right now, which is universal health care, Medicare for all. Do you understand why we have Trump? We have Trump because we got a guy like this who's a fucking liar. 1,000% corrupt. Screwed over people when they were in dire situations. Deported more Hispanics than all the presidents combined. That's why you got Donald Trump, because people are desperate because of fucking pieces of shit like Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And now Bernie tells you to vote for that guy.
whose own life has taught him how to persevere, how to bounce back when you've been knocked down. When Joe talks with parents who've lost their jobs, we hear the son of a man who once knew the pain of having to tell his children.
You know what else we know? What Joe Biden didn't he have an $8 million health care bill for his kid that he was going to have to sell his house to pay for, and then you gave him the money? The two guys who engineered that health care system that bankrupted Joe Biden kid when he got cancer. You guys, there aren't words strong enough to describe what craven pieces of shit you and Joe Biden are. There aren't words strong enough. And fuck the media that props you up. That's why we have a show. And fuck the progressive media who props you up.
Lost his. When Joe talks about opportunity for our kids, we hear the young father who took the train home each night so he could tuck his children into bed. And we hear the influence of Jill, a lifelong teacher. When Joe talks to families who've lost a hero, we hear another parent of an American veteran
who has led people into illegal wars and gotten them killed and has helped kill millions of other people. He's a warmonger in chief. He's a maniac. He's a sociopathic killer, just like I am. I'm Barack Obama. I'm urging you to vote for another sociopathic killer like Joe Biden.
A kindred spirit, somebody whose faith has endured the hardest loss there is. That's Joe. Through all his trials, he's never once forgotten the values or the moral fiber that his parents passed on to him and that made him who he is. That's what steels his faith in God, in America, and in all of us. That steel made him an incredible partner when I needed one the most. Joe was there as we rebuilt from the Great Recession and rescued the American auto industry. He was the one asking what every policy would do for the middle class, and everyone's striving to get into the middle class. That's why I asked him to implement the Recovery Act, which saved millions of jobs and got people back on their feet. Because Joe gets stuff.
This motherfucker, this craven, lying, gaslighting piece of shit who flew into Flint, Michigan, sipped a glass of water, and left those people to die, is now pretending he helped people during the Great Recession. And you know why he gets is able to do this 12 years after the fact? Because Bernie Sanders and no prominent Democrat ever made a critique of it, which is why we got Donald Trump, which is why we're going to get 4 more years of Donald Trump. Do you think this is going to do anything? Do you think this is going to make people vote for Joe Biden? This makes people trust government less because everyone knows Barack Obama's lying, just like Bernie Sanders was lying yesterday when he said Joe Biden would be a good president. Joe Biden is demented, and they should take his car keys away. I bet they already have. I bet they've already taken Joe Biden's car keys away from him. And then you got fucking neoliberal tools of war and destruction like Barack Obama, a wolf in sheep's clothing, the enemy of the people, Barack Obama, major war criminal, Barack Obama, telling you to vote Joe Biden. You think this is the establishment still, okay. But they don't give a shit if Biden doesn't win because they already got their guy. Donald Trump is their guy. And if you're a Trump voter and you think Trump is there to stick it to the establishment, you got another thing coming. He is the establishment. His cabinet is the swamp. You know his biggest legislative achievement, besides this giveaway to the corporations that are going to fuck you right now, was the big $1 trillion tax cut he gave to the richest people before that. You notice they don't ever talk about that anymore.
Joe helped me manage H1N1 and prevent the Ebola epidemic from becoming the type of pandemic we're seeing now.
And now we're actually finding out that it was Joe Biden and Barack Obama that left us unprepared for this situation. That's what we're actually finding out right now.
Helped me restore America's standing and leadership in the world on the other threats of our time, like nuclear proliferation and climate change. Joe has the character and the experience to guide us through one of our darkest times.
Joe has no character. Joe is literally a sociopathic liar. People knew this the first time he ran for president and he had to drop out because they showed videotapes of him lying over and over and over and over again. Said he graduated top of his class. He didn't. Said he had a double major. He didn't. Said he gave speeches that were for other politicians' speeches in England. Said it was his. He did this all in public. Look what he did to Anita Hill. This is the guy. So right now, you guys told me Kavanaugh was the worst thing in the world, but now Joe Biden is okay. And you wonder why we have Trump.
And heal us through a long recovery. And I know he'll surround himself with good people. Experts, scientists, military officials who actually know.
Who actually tell us we should invade Libya, drop 26,000 bombs on Syria, tell us we should open the Arctic to drilling whenever Shell Oil asks, tell us to build cages to put immigrants in. We should gas immigrants at the. That's the kind of experts Joe Biden's going to put in his cabinet. You know, guys like Larry Summers, guys who deregulated Wall Street.
How to run the government and care about doing a good job running the government and know how to work with our allies and who will always put the American people's interests above their own. And Joe will be a better candidate for having run the gauntlet of primaries and caucuses alongside one of the most impressive Democratic fields ever. Each of our candidates were talented and decent, with a track record of accomplishment, smart ideas, and serious visions for the future. And that's certainly true of the candidate who made.
Does anybody believe anything he's saying? Does anyone believe what the fuck he's saying? Anyone?
People are begging for you to stop showing this video. They hate him so much.
This is unbelievable. I can't.
We're almost done.
It's unbelievable.
Farther than any other. Bernie Sanders. Bernie's an American original, a man who has devoted his life
to sheep-herding progressives into an
hope,
anti-revolutionary party.
dreams, and frustrations. He and I haven't always agreed on everything, but we've always shared a conviction.
Yeah, like Bernie was against he was for giving people health care. You were against it. Bernie was for keeping people in their houses. You're for kicking them out. You mean those kind of differences? Is that the differences you're talking about, Barack, the liar, Obama?
Financially stressed and given too little support. And that applies to the next generation of Americans. Young people graduating into unprecedented unemployment. They're going to need economic policies that give them faith in the future.
So if you just go like that, does that mean that Joe Biden's going to magically have a policy? If you talk like this, they're going to need policies in the future. Does that mean Joe Biden, what is the policy Joe Biden has to help them? He will not tell you. In the future, and give them relief? What relief? What relief, Brock, is Joe Biden bringing? First of all, he looks drunk almost. He looks sleepy.
People said that he was on drugs. They're like, this guy looks like he's on drugs.
He does. He's got droopy eyes and shit.
Give them relief from crushing student loan debt. So we need to do more than just tinker around the edges with tax credits or underfunded programs. We have to go further.
Yeah, we need to do more than just tinker around the edges.
Tinker.
Unfortunately, Joe Biden isn't that guy. He's not going to do anything. I don't know if you know he's demented. We took his car keys away. But please vote for him. I'm Barack Obama. I'm the reason you have Trump, and I'll fuck you with a grin.
Give everybody a great education, a lasting career, and a stable retirement. We have to protect the gains we made with the Affordable Care Act.
Okay.
But
we have to protect. Do you know Barack Obama has no legacy? Because the Affordable Care Act is going away right now. Because everyone's going to lose their health care because of this depression. So so they're going to replace it with something. I bet they call it Trump Care. And Obama has what is his no legacy? He made the Bush tax cuts permanent. He made the banks bigger. He took us from 2 wars to 7. He opened the Arctic to drilling whenever shell oil asked. He didn't do anything for Occupy. He fucked over the teachers' unions in Wisconsin. He let people at Standing Rock get their heads cracked in. He has no legacy. His whole legacy is the Affordable Care Act, which isn't affordable and doesn't care for anybody. His whole legacy is a piece of shit corporate giveaway, which is going away. 4 years after he's out of the president, his signature achievement is going to be gone. By the way, his signature achievement sucks. Everyone fucking hates it. Barack Obama has no legacy. Hillary Clinton already lost to Donald Trump, and Joe Biden's about to lose to Donald Trump. That's Barack Obama's legacy. He handed the country over to Donald Trump. He made people so desperate they wouldn't vote Democrat anymore. That's his real legacy. And Bernie Sanders will never fucking tell you that because Bernie Sanders is a lapdog to the Democratic establishment. That's what Bernie Sanders actually is. And he'll never tell you this.
it's also time to go further. We should make plans affordable for everyone. Provide
Free.
He's still doing it. We should make plans affordable for everyone. You know, the whole country's about to lose their health care. We should make it affordable. They don't have jobs. Let's sell them some jobs. Why don't the poor people buy more money so they can buy their health care?
with a public option, expand Medicare, and finish the job so that healthcare isn't just a right, but a reality for everybody.
I had 8 years in office, and it still isn't a reality and I didn't do it. I instituted a plan that crushed people. That's what I did. By the way, after my plan got instituted, health insurance and big pharma stock went through the roof. That's how you know it was a good healthcare plan. Fuck Barack Obama, fuck the Democratic Party, and fuck Bernie Sanders when he tells you to vote for a demented guy who's a warmonger and your enemy, who's already vowed that he's not going to give you health care. Fuck Barack Obama and fuck Bernie Sanders when he tells you to vote for Joe Biden, because Bernie Sanders is fucking gaslighting you and lying to you. And why is he doing that? So he doesn't have a hard life. So he could still have friends in Washington, D.C., because that's his entire social circle. That's why.
We have to return the U.S. to the Paris Agreement and lead the world in reducing the pollution that causes climate change.
This is the guy who brags that the United States became the world's largest oil producer under his term, under his administration. He brags about it. He brags they produce more oil under his term than any other administration. He brags about that. So fuck off again.
But science tells us we have to go much further, and it's time for us to accelerate progress on bold new green initiatives that make our economy.
You really think Joe Biden is the guy who's going to lead bold progress on green initiatives? You didn't do it. Why is he going to do it?
Clean energy innovator, save us money, and secure our children's future. Of course, Democrats may not always agree on every detail of the best way to bring about each and every one of these changes.
Like, for instance, I would say the Democratic Party should stop taking money from Big Pharma, Wall Street, and fossil fuels. He would say, no, we should take even more and then do whatever they want. So that's a little bit of a disagreement. Barack Obama would say we should keep taking money from the people who are the problem and then do what they want. So that's kind of a different. I would say don't take their money and then do the exact opposite of what those people want. So that's a little bit of a difference. I would say don't open the Arctic to drilling. I would say don't kick 5.1 million families out of their homes in the middle of a Great Recession. He would say open the Arctic to drilling. He would say make the banks bigger. He would say kick 5.1 million families out of their house during a recession. I would say no. So that's the little disagreements we have. Barack Obama doesn't have a little disagreement with you. Barack Obama is your enemy as much as Donald Trump is your enemy. And it's even worse because you can see it coming with Donald Trump, but you can't see it coming with this smooth-talking motherfucker.
But we do agree that they're needed. And that only happens if we win.
I love when he does. When he does that kind of I really, really mean this part.
This election. Because one thing everybody has learned by now is that the Republicans occupying the White House and running the U.S. Senate are not interested in progress.
Unlike the Democrats, what in the fuck kind of bullshit kabuki theater is this?
How much did the Democrats explode Donald Trump's military budget?
$131 billion, Barack. They just gave Trump for bombs. You're Democrats. Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi just screwed America, along with Chuck Schumer. And so this is exactly what they want. They always need to have someone else they can blame. So if we had one-party rule, it would probably actually, I mean, if we had on the surface one-party rule, we actually have one-party rule underneath. But if we had it on the surface, we might be able to actually get some shit done. Because they couldn't play this game left, right, vote them in, vote them out. But we would actually demand our leaders do something.
They're interested in power.
Unlike me,
They've
who
shown
became
themselves
president.
willing to kick millions off their health insurance.
How about
Do you hear
millions
him?
out of their homes?
Whereas Barack Obama was willing to kick millions of people out in the street during a recession.
And eliminate pre-existing condition protections for millions more, even in the middle of this public health crisis.
And in the middle of this public health crisis, you want to sell people more health care. Make it affordable to the people who just lost their jobs.
Even as they're willing to spend $1 trillion on tax cuts for the wealthy. They've given polluters unlimited power to poison our air and our water, and
As did you.
denied the science of climate change, just as they denied the science of pandemics. Repeatedly, they've disregarded American principles of rule of law
Oh
and voting
God,
rights
this is
and
my favorite.
transparency.
This is my
Basic
they don't follow the norms and rules. You mean like how you didn't prosecute bona fide war criminals? You mean like those rules? How you tortured Chelsea Manning? Barack Obama tortured Chelsea Manning. And now he's going to talk about norms and the Constitution. Barack Obama repealed habeas corpus. Barack Obama repealed habeas corpus. So fuck you, Barack Obama, and fuck Bernie Sanders for telling me to support Joe Biden, a demented war criminal.
norms that previous administrations observed regardless of party. Principles that are the bedrock of our democracy.
Like habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is in the Magna Carta. Barack Obama repealed habeas corpus, which means we are operating on a liberty view from somewhere from the 1100s. Right now, Trump could lock you up indefinitely because of Barack Obama. So don't listen to this guy. He's a con artist from the fucking minute, from word one, he's a con artist. Barack Obama is a lying con artist. He's just better at Trump. You can tell he's lying. Barack Obama, he seems sincere. He does that talk. We really got to do better things for people.
So our country's future hangs on this election.
I thought it last one did.
And it won't be easy. The other side has a massive war chest. The other side has a propaganda network with little regard for the truth.
Again, just shut your fucking stupid face. You're such a stupid fucking liar. You're such a mediocrity. You're such a mediocre piece of shit, Barack Obama.
On the other hand, pandemics have a way of cutting through a lot of noise and spin to remind us of what is real and what is important.
And what is not real is that you gave people health care. And that's what people are finding out right now. You didn't give anybody anything. You gave trillions of dollars to your friends in big pharma and healthcare and Wall Street. And you fucked, and that's what people are finding. That's what everybody's finding out right now.
This crisis has reminded us that government matters. It's reminded us that good government matters. That facts and science matter.
Can you pause it? You know what it reminded me of? How invaluable grocery store workers are. How invaluable postal delivery people are. How valuable our hospitals, our medical staff, and scientists. I don't understand, JD. I don't understand why Barack Obama is taking this long, as if he's actually running for president right now instead of Joe Biden. Jimmy, this was an endorsement video.
Yeah, I know.
But what is this now?
He's trying. I don't know. He's doing it. He's trying to pretend that there's a difference between him and Donald Trump and the Republicans, and there isn't.
That the rule of law matters. That having leaders who are informed and honest.
Didn't prosecute one person on Wall Street. Why? Because Barack Obama's entire cabinet came from an email from Citigroup. Why? Because Barack Obama's a tool. Why? Because Barack Obama's a liar. He's a con man. He kicked 5.1 million families out of their house. Didn't prosecute one banker. Didn't prosecute one war criminal. Didn't end one war. Took us from 2 wars to 7. Barack Obama's a con man.
And seek to bring people together rather than drive them apart. Those kind of leaders matter. In other words, elections matter. Right now, we need Americans of goodwill to unite in a great awakening against a politics that too often has been characterized by corruption, carelessness, self-dealing, disinformation.
He's doing this video from a 49 acre palace on Martha's Vineyard. Just so you know. So when he says,
in a great awakening against a politics that too often has been characterized by corruption, carelessness, self-dealing, disinformation.
Corruption, self-dealing, disinformation, ignorance, all those things you're guilty of. It's a manifest in your life.
Ignorance and just plain meanness.
Also, you are guilty of that. You gassed immigrants at the border. You built those cages Trump put the people in. You drone killed 90% civilians. You executed an American child without a trial, and then you laugh about it. Look what you did to Libya. You turned it into a failed state with open slave markets. Isn't that just plain mean? You funded ISIS. You funded ISIS. You gave money to ISIS in Syria. Timber Sycamore, look it up. What could be more mean than that, Barack Obama? Do you understand why we have Trump? Do you understand why we have a government that in the middle of a pandemic doesn't give you health care, but gives trillions of dollars to the richest motherfuckers in the country already? And then because we have pieces of shit like Barack Obama who are con men. and a bought media. And even your progressive media ain't telling you the truth anymore. Even your progressive media is lying to you about Bernie Sanders, lying to you about AOC, lying to you about what's going on.
To change that, we need Americans of all political stripes to get involved in our politics and our public life like never before. For those of us who believe in building a more just, more generous, more democratic America,
you need to get out of the Democratic Party. Because we're a pro-Wall Street war party, and we will crush anybody who tries to help the people.
where everybody has a fair shot at opportunity. For those of us who believe in a government that cares about the many and not just the few. For those of us who love this country and are willing to do our part to make sure it lives up to its highest ideals. Now's the time to fight for what we believe in.
Ha ha! What about when you had complete control of government? Was that a time to fight? Remember when you were the president, the Democrats controlled the House, and they had a filibuster-proof Senate? Do you remember that? Do you remember what you did then? I do. You made the banks bigger. You kicked 5.1 million people out of their house, and you gave us a healthcare plan that fucked everybody in the ass as hard as possible while giving trillions of dollars to your donors in big pharma and healthcare, health insurance. That's what you did. But now it's time to fight. If you would have done anything back then, we wouldn't have to be fighting so hard right now. But you did nothing.
So join us. Join Joe.
Ha!
Go to joebiden.com right now.
Oh, God. He even says it like
Make
it's
a plan
joke. Go
for
to
how
Joe Biden.
you are
I know
going
it
to get
sounds like a
involved.
joke.
Keep taking care of yourself and your families and each other.
What if I get kicked out of my
Keep
house?
believing in the possibilities of a
Possibility
better
of
world.
being of what?
And I will see you on the campaign trail as soon as I can.
Oh,
Thanks.
oh, that's so exciting.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Oh my God, Jimmy, Barack Obama is going to start making public appearances on
Campaign
behalf
trail.
of Joe Biden. And I can't tell you, already, I don't know if anybody else after watching it, don't you just feel more hope and change? And yes, we can, knowing that President Barack Obama is now supporting Joe Biden. It's like a dream come true, right, Jimmy? It's like a dream come true.
If anybody wants to see what's wrong with America, they should watch that speech. That's what's wrong with America. What's wrong with America is we have con men like Barack Obama, and people think he's Santa Claus when he's actually worse than Ted Cruz. Why? Because you can see Ted Cruz coming. That's why. That's why. That's why Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes are more insidious than Sean Hannity. Why? Because you can see Sean Hannity coming. You got a couple of nerds with their glasses on, went to their nerdy schools and their nerdiness. You'd never expect a gay nerd would lie to you. Turns out gay nerds are some of the worst people in the world. Turns out some of the worst people in the world happen to be gay nerds. Isn't that weird? Yeah. Some of the biggest liars in the world. Isn't that wild? And I don't think nerd is a pejorative anymore because they already had their revenge. So they're the winners now. Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?